Hi, this is Glenn Derene, electronics editor for Consumer Reports, and welcome to Talking Tech. Today we are going to be talking about the Super Bowl and televisions, and we have two of our television experts here, Claudio Ciacci and Jim Willcox. For some reason, around the Super Bowl time, there's lots of sales on TVs, there's lots of people buying TVs. Is it a good time to buy a TV? Are the sales for a good reason?
I mean, it can be. Certainly the TV manufacturers, everything that they didn't sell during Black Friday and Christmas, they want to move out of there. And so there's a lot of promotions around the Super Bowl. So you can actually get a great deal around the TV. The thing to understand is that the new models really haven't arrived yet. So essentially you're buying last year's TV, and that can be either a good or bad thing.
So what you're saying is that all the 2014 TVs are not, are the manufacturers just clearing out their old TVs at the same time as the Super Bowl is this big push to buy them?
Yeah, I mean, just the timing of the event. Typically we don't see the new models arriving until the end of February, beginning of March. That's the first batches that come through. So these are really, the manufacturers looking and retailers looking to clear out their inventories, and so the pricing becomes more aggressive. That said, if you don't need to buy a TV for the Super Bowl itself, if you wait another month and a half till the February-March timeframe, we expect prices to get cheaper. That's what we've seen in the past.
Yeah, because the models that didn't sell now, they've still got to get rid of them to make room for 2014.
They really need to get rid of them at that point, yeah.
Also add that the other good news is that the top models of 2013 will continue to be excellent models in 2014. It's not like they become obsolete because they're 1 year old.
Yeah,
so a good price deal will still yield you a very good set.
And coming out of CES, unless you were buying an Ultra HD TV, we saw really, marginal incremental changes in terms of feature sets and things like that. So it's not like you're really going to be missing out on something in 2014 by buying a leftover 2013 model.
Now, since you brought it up, I want to get into this just briefly. Some of the new technologies that did come out, one of them is Ultra HD, and so there are some Ultra HD sets on the market right now. Is it worth buying one of those for the Super Bowl? Would it make the Super Bowl look any better?
Well, Ultra HD is an exciting new format. There's no content you can watch with Ultra right now, including the Super Bowl. So that means that the Super Bowl is broadcast in high definition. So playing high definition onto an Ultra HD TV means the TV will have to upscale the HD to Ultra HD resolution.
And what do you mean by upscale? What is that?
Upscale means that the Ultra HD TV has 4 times the number of pixels of HD. So when you go from HD to Ultra, you have to fill in all those pixels. You have to make stuff up. You have to recalculate the picture to fill those pixels. And what that means is you'll see a fine pixel structure on a large screen TV due to the extra pixel density, but you won't actually see more detail on the Super Bowl.
So it's not going to put it in a box the way that sometimes,
No, it will fill the screen. It will fill the screen, but you won't see any Ultra HD resolution on it.
Is it possible it could make it look worse? I mean,
yeah.
Are there some sets that don't upscale well?
That's one of the things that we've seen, and I think it's going to be one of the differentiating features for a lot of the TVs that are coming out, because for the near future, most of what people are going to watch on these Ultra sets is regular standard 1080p or 1080i content, which is just regular high-def content. And so some TVs do a better job of up-converting that content to the higher resolution, and some TVs don't. So we've had Ultra HD TVs that have just been not good TVs at all, so the extra resolution really hasn't helped them at all.
It makes a bad picture look even worse?
It just makes a bad picture look like a bad picture, or a good picture look like a bad picture, which is even worse.
By the way, what about other events that are coming up, like the Olympics now? My understanding is that they're going to be, I think we were talking before the show about how they're probably going to be filming it in HD, Ultra HD, but
I mean, there are more events, sporting events that are going to be filmed in it. Right now you can't broadcast it. So there's a new video codec, which is just a different way of dealing more efficiently with video, but it takes broadcasts a long time to get around to that. We expect maybe next year some of the satellite companies may be able to broadcast 4K, but they're getting ready for it. Netflix is shooting some series in 4K. Movies natively are typically shot in either 4K or 8K. So the content in a lot of instances exists. What we're waiting for really is the infrastructure to catch up to it. And that's why we're expecting probably the first half of the year to start seeing 4K via streaming services like Netflix or Amazon.
So, but that's not necessarily an argument for buying one of those sets right now.
No.
Right.
No.
So let's get into that. So what are some? Do we have some suggestions for sets that are that people should look at now? I mean, if there's this weird transition that's going on between the 2013 and 2014 sets? We've just said there's plenty of good sets to be had out there. What do we recommend?
I mean, it's funny because, what we recommend is really what we would recommend to anyone buying a TV, whether they're watching the Super Bowl or whether they're watching a movie. Typically, good performing TVs are just the TVs that deliver great picture quality no matter what you're playing on it. Our list of the best performing TVs is sort of plasma heavy, as it has been for a couple of years. As you know, we've heard
plasma's going away.
Plasma's slowly going away. So a year from now, it's going to be really interesting to see what hits our top list. There were two really great performing plasma TVs that we liked this year. Panasonic had a VT60 series. They had an even higher end series called the ZT60, which may have been, Claudio can weigh in, it might have been the best 1080p TV we've ever tested.
But that's going away.
But it's going away. And in fact, it's funny because they have a little bit of a less expensive model, the ST60. A lot of people thought it was probably delivered the best bang for the buck. The problem is that it's really in limited supply right now. And I just did some pricing on it, and people are asking $500 over what we paid for that TV 6 months ago because they're afraid these TVs are going to disappear. We also like Samsung has an F8500 series, brightest plasma we've probably ever tested, and
excellent
so
TV.
Plasmas tend to be a little dimmer, and this was a TV that delivered almost LCD-like brightness. And then if you're looking for an LCD TV, and these are all higher performing sets, we have some budget models too. There was LG had an LA, I think it was 8600 series. Just want to double check. Yeah, it's the LA 8600 series. That's an LCD. It was one of the top rated.
You're allowed to have notes.
Yeah, I need them when you're talking about model numbers. But in this series, it's an LED backlit LCD TV, and pretty much did everything well. Great picture quality, had a wide viewing angle, which can be an issue with LCDs, good motion blur performance, and unusually, it actually had very good sound as well, and that's one of the things that lacks, it's lacking with a lot of these super thin TVs.
So I want to get into some of that. So what are some of the things, let's just say you're not specifically looking at these TVs, what are some aspects to the TV people should really concentrate on?
Well, it kind of goes to what we look for in a high-performing TV. We kind of have in our minds the ideal television. The ideal television is capable of showing a picture that goes from deep black to sufficiently bright for a number of rooms. It has perfect motion without blurring. It has a perfect viewing angle so you can see the TV from any position. TV should not be changing its picture quality depending on where you're standing.
Yeah, especially if you're in a packed Super Bowl environment where you've got a dozen people in a room.
Exactly.
Not everybody gets to be front and center on the TV, right?
Right. They know who's not among the most liked people if they're off to the side on an LCD set.
And in fact, as these screens go bigger, they're almost inviting more people to join the party and watch the big game. And you'll have people sitting from the side. And it's quite surprising when we have these TVs in the lab just how badly the picture can deteriorate at off angles.
So is this
and that's an LCD problem? And so
an LCD
two of the things
so that doesn't happen with plasma.
Does not happen with
virtually
plasma.
Unlimited viewing angles. Plasma tends to handle motion a lot better. So these are issues that are really endemic to LCD technology. And a lot of the TVs have gotten better. There's you might have seen 120 hertz, 240 hertz technology. These are efforts to speed up the frame rate of the TV so it reduces motion blur. But that one of the things we like about plasma is it does these things effortlessly.
So there's one thing we all sort of talked about as I know some people get frustrated by it, some people think of it as their big project before the game, which is you buy the TV, but then you want to wall mount it. And I was wondering, do you guys have any tips for somebody who's going to wall mount it? Should the tip just be don't bother if you're trying to get this set up for the game, or are there easy ways to get this accomplished?
Well, you should think carefully about where you're going to mount that TV set. It's going to be there after the game is over and the family is back into the room using it the way they normally do. There's the TV set. So many people tend to mount a TV probably higher than they should, higher up on the wall. And when you're sitting on your couch and you're looking up, it could get a little bit tiresome.
Are those the people who walk around all day, with their necks cranked up? And
But, it looks weird. Like, it used to be you would sit down and then you would just sort of, measure where the TV would be for a perfect distance when you're sitting down. But if you put a 50-inch or a 60-inch TV on a wall and it's sort of waist height, it looks really, really weird. So, with wall-mounted TVs, they tend to be mounted higher than you normally would mount a TV that's stand-mounted. But there are also tilt mounts that you can get so that you can actually adjust the TV downward so that the viewing angle is a little bit more normal.
Sure. And actually, we recommend if you could, especially with a large screen TV, make a cardboard cutout of that physical size of the screen and just put it up against the wall and just sit on your couch and look at it for a while and just see if it's...
And walk around the room.
Yeah, see if it feels comfortable for you.
Before you put, $1,000 or so up on the wall.
And it's quite a bit of work to set up the wall mount and actually brace it and support that giant television. So.
And one of the things you could say too is that that may be a good reason for you to argue a little bit at retail. If you can't negotiate on the price, see if they'll throw in some kind of free wall mounting or installation. They won't always do it, but it doesn't hurt to ask, and certainly it would make it easier than taping boxes together to get a big enough cardboard to do a 65-inch or a 70-inch TV.
And should you give it a little tug before you just let it go to make sure it's not gonna drop on you?
Well, once you have the stand up, you may want to just let it lift your feet off the ground and let it carry your weight and see if...
Make sure your insurance is paid up.
The only thing more dramatic than a last-minute touchdown is a mid-game fall of the set. Okay, guys. Well, thank you very much. I hope you guys enjoy the game. I hope you're not trapped at work here, although you do have some of the best sets in the world here if you do end up here for the game. Thank you very much for joining us on Talking Tech. For all of you out there, if you want to get some great TV ratings, come to consumerreports.org, and we hope you enjoyed the big game. Come see us next time on Talking Tech.
Thank you.